Score18indoorgolf.com.
It's open enrollment season, and MediShare is a Christian healthcare sharing ministry that saves most families about $500 a month. Google MediShare and see if it is a fit for you.
7:37 in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Metra has delays and cancellations on the Union Pacific Northwest line due to a derailment of the Crystal Lake Yard. Veterans Memorial southbound, it's jammed 143rd to 159th, where all traffic is forced off due to a major wreck. The Tri-State is fine southbound, but there are northbound delays. Archer to 75th, from the Stevenson to 47th, and from the Reagan Tollway to Lawrence. But Reagan Tollway traffic slow from the Aurora Toll to Eola and 59 to Mill. Edens is running 28 minutes like Cook to Montrose. It's a crash at Devon in the two right lanes. Kennedy, 38 minutes O'Hare to downtown. Eisenhower, 48 minutes from 390. Stevenson, 59 minutes from 355. And Ryan, 32 minutes from 95th. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. In our 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center, we're seeing cloudy, windy, and colder conditions, a high of 36. Currently 34 at O'Hare, 33 along the lakefront. Your next news update is at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Retire Chicago. Tune in Saturday mornings at 8 to Retire Chicago with John McNamara of McNamara Capital.
So Iowa has completed their dry run for the Democrats' November strategy, which is in states where they don't like the anticipated outcome, they're just not going to count any of the votes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So that seems to be what they've done to Bernie in Iowa. We wanted to talk to Michael Moffett, former state rep from New Hampshire, about, okay, well, those are the results from Iowa. What does that portend for New Hampshire? Because sometimes New Hampshire zigs after Iowa has zagged. Except we don't know. We're still waiting for those results. But we're going to talk to him anyway. Michael Moffett is a former New Hampshire state representative, retired professor, and Marine Corps officer. And he's a contributor to the Concord Monitor as well. Michael, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, Dan, Amy, and Quinn. Thanks for the invite.
Shout out to our producer, Quinn, too.
Quinn, jump on mic 3. Come on.
It's very, very neighborly of you.
Yes.
So Michael, what do you guys, do you know what I know you're a Republican, but do you know if the Democrats are planning on counting the votes on Tuesday night or not? Has there been any indication of that yet?
Well, in New Hampshire, I think you can count on some fairly speedy results and a definite winner. Actually, two winners. There's two primaries, which we sometimes forget. But, next Tuesday, week from today, you can expect, unless it's really, really close, which could happen. This is a fairly contested primary, although I think Bernie Sanders is going to probably win fairly handily, but who knows?
Yeah, well, he's from Vermont right next door, so you think that would help. But how is Joe Biden polling over there in New Hampshire?
Well, it's interesting because I was in downtown Concord a few months ago. Of course, they're all coming to New Hampshire, and there were people downtown passing out leaflets. Please come here, Joe Biden speak at the Union Hall. I'm thinking, goodness gracious, he's former vice president, and people are begging, handing out flyers. Please come listen. And of course, President Trump has come here a number of times, and the SNHU arena will be full of 11,000 people. So honestly, I don't sense a lot of energy for former Vice President Biden at all. I'm seeing the energy and the signs for Bernie, for Mayor Pete, some for Elizabeth Warren, some for Amy, and not a whole lot of Biden energy that I'm seeing.
Yeah, what's your handle on Elizabeth Warren? She's up there in the Northeast as well, Massachusetts, and she bubbled up to the surface there for a bit, and she's faded nationally, but she's also faded in an area where ostensibly she potentially could do well in New Hampshire. Why have New Hampshire Democrats trailed off of her?
Well, I want to be careful because I don't want to necessarily speak for New Hampshire Democrats, but my sense is I would use the same word that you used, which is fading. I think she's increasingly perceived as inauthentic, all about identity politics. I think that people sense that she tried to ambush Bernie at the debate on him telling her that he didn't think a woman, would do as well running for president. So I think Senator Warren is fading. That's my sense.
The Manchester Union leader endorsed Amy Klobuchar. Why Amy Klobuchar, do you think, and somebody that, as you just described, maybe has a little momentum, maybe they don't think Bernie can win, but why not embrace a Mayor Pete, something new and fresh up there in New Hampshire?
Well, Union leader is famously kind of independent. I know the publisher Joe McQuaid a little bit. Of course, they're famously a conservative paper, so, on the Dem side, everybody is so liberal. Amy Klobuchar probably the lesser so of the major contenders. I'm not surprised that they would endorse her. I have to tell you, though, that a name that you didn't hear in Iowa that you will hear in New Hampshire is Tulsi Gabbard, who moved to New Hampshire and has lived here for several months. I've run into her a couple of times, and she's working hard. Her signs are everywhere. Of course, she's famously suing Hillary Clinton for $50 million. So she's going to be in the mix. I don't think she's going to win, but she's going to get a lot of votes. And I think she's going to get some Republican write-ins, frankly, as well.
Really? And she was surfing there in New Hampshire, the first Democratic candidate to do so.
Snowboarding, yeah. So that's going to get her a few votes. I've actually run into her a couple of times. A week ago Saturday, we actually had the Republican convention in Meredith, and then some of us went to the American Legion in Meredith, and Tulsi Gabbard walks into the bar. It's not a joke. She really walked into the bar.
She walked in with a bar. She sat down.
She was wonderful. She, it was mostly Republicans in there. Of course, she's a Legionnaire. She's a war veteran, and she. The next day, there was pictures of Tulsi all over Facebook in New Hampshire with Republicans mostly. So I'm not sure how much that'll help her on the Dem side, but she's been working hard and has been everywhere. So she's going to get some votes.
Interesting. Is she always in that white suit or a wetsuit, or does she mix up her wardrobe a bit?
Well, if you go to my Facebook page, you'll actually see a picture of her and me and some other Republicans, and she was not wearing white that evening at the American Legion.
What does she drink? What's her beverage of choice?
The Republicans are drinking beer at the Legion. I didn't notice that she had a drink in her hand, but we won't hold that against her.
There you go. What about, New Hampshire, again, so let's go to the other side of the aisle, your side of the aisle, Republicans. New Hampshire has long been a swing state. And what's your sense of whether it's in play for Trump in 2020, depending on who the Democrat nominee is?
Oh, New Hampshire is absolutely in play. It's a swing state. In fact, personally, I think that the president probably won New Hampshire last time. He lost by around 3,000 votes. And the problem that Republicans have in New Hampshire, the way that we do business, we're trying to clean this up. But anybody can just blow in here, show an ID, and vote on Election Day, pretty much, particularly out-of-state students. So I think if you took away the out-of-state students from the college towns who voted, I think President Trump would have won. Senator Kelly Ayotte lost by 1,000 votes. Clearly, in my view, in the view of many others, she would be a U.S. Senator today if only New Hampshire residents voted. So anyway, yes, New Hampshire very much in play and will be very, very close and competitive in November.
And is that, the handle on New Hampshire, being the first in the country primary and coming off the Iowa caucus, the 1-2, is that a real thing that New Hampshire voters contemplate what the outcome in Iowa, and they don't just want to endorse what happened in Iowa? They want to go a different direction to have some sort of independence. That's something they value. Do New Hampshire voters, generally speaking, really look at what happened in the Iowa caucus and say, okay, we need to do something different?
I think there's something to that dynamic. Of course, right now we don't really know what happened in Iowa, but looking through the years, Iowa and New Hampshire have gone different ways a lot. 2008, Obama won Iowa, and then Hillary won New Hampshire. I mean, that type of thing happens a lot. But I think New Hampshire voters, we have a huge turnout, the highest of any primary state by far. And I think that certainly we're aware of what happens in Iowa, but more often than not, we don't necessarily rubber stamp what the the Hawkeye state does.
Yeah, and don't you remember Hillary Clinton famously cried with a group of women, and I think that helped catapult her above Obama back then, don't you?
Yeah. Yes,
Showed a little
Amy,
bit of a
very- very
human
much-
side.
Yes, I think that moment in I think it was in Dover that Hillary teared up. That made her authentic, I think, and very human. And I think that moment where she teared up in Dover won her the primary in 2008 over then Senator Obama.
Maybe something for Elizabeth Warren to try out,
Oh
you know,
my
to
gosh.
brandish
That
her
would be crazy.
authenticity. Nothing
Is
like
she-
contrived crying to convey authenticity. Michael Moffett, former New Hampshire state representative, retired professor, and Marine Corps officer, and a contributor to the Concord Monitor. Michael, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate your insights.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Have a great day.
You too.
Yep, thanks. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents. And Doug.
Welcome to Burger Palace. What would you like today?
Yes, I'd like to tell you that Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.